A lot of people ask me how to get their music out there. Well, today I want to give you my top tips for how you can release your music on all the major streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Music. To start with, I'd like to touch on the topic of mastering. Now, the purpose of mastering with music and audio is really to optimize your music for the release platform. So in this instance, if you're aiming to release it online on Spotify or YouTube or any of the major streaming platforms, then mastering is really important to make sure your music is optimized. Mastering requirements will probably vary amongst different genres and different types of music. I have done a number of videos previously where I've delved into more of the detail about mastering, and I'm not going to get into that today. But what I will suggest is that you should make sure your music is mastered before you go releasing it online. The streaming platforms will always apply various types of volume normalization to make sure that the listening experience is consistent across all different types of music, and to make sure that people aren't constantly moving for the volume control when they're listening to their music. So I'd certainly suggest you get in touch with a professional mastering engineer or research online to see some of the tips and tricks that you might need to look into to make sure your music is optimized, because it really is the important first step to make sure your audio is finalized and ready to send out. Another really important first step is to start researching online distributors. Now, the purpose of distributors is to facilitate the release of your music to all of those platforms, and there are a wide variety of distributors available out there too. So you really need to research and find which one is going to be best suitable for you. There's different costs involved with different distributors as well. Some of the big names out there are TuneCore and CD Baby. They've been around for some time, and they all have different structures on. Some of them charge fees for a per song release or an annual fee or an album fee. There's all sorts of different structures there. So certainly look at your budget and look at the areas that you want to be targeting, and then you can research which distributor is going to be the best fit for you. Once you've chosen a distributor and you've prepared a login on their website, you can then upload your audio to their website, and they will then put your music in the system so that it can be ready to send out to all of those release platforms for you. And usually there'll be options to select which date you want it to be released. I usually recommend making sure there's at least 1 or 2 months gap so that you've got some time to do some marketing. If it's an album, you probably want to allow a bit longer than that, but certainly for a single release, 30 days is usually pretty much a minimum for getting the release prepared. Artwork is a really important part of being prepared as well. So you should have your artwork all done and ready to upload to the distributor, because they will require you to upload like a JPEG of your cover artwork as well. Now, that cover artwork needs to be at a certain specification in terms of how many pixels and all that sort of thing. So you'll need to check with the distributor to make sure your artwork is also compliant. It's a good idea to involve a graphic designer, because they can not only design the cover for you, but they can make sure it's compliant for all of the upload requirements too. Now, metadata. Metadata is all of the written information that gets entered into the back end of the distribution website. It can also be hard-coded into MP3s. I certainly don't recommend you using MP3s as masters to upload to the distribution streaming sites, because I'm not going to get into the detail of that, but I would recommend using a WAV file to make sure that you've got the best possible quality that's going to be rendered down to likely some form of MP3 or AAC format thereafter. So getting back to metadata now, so that will include the song title, the artist name, the release date, the genre, the producer's details. The more information you enter in the metadata section will allow for your music to be fine-tuned in terms of when it's searched online, it's going to be matched to certain genres. You're going to be able to have a better chance of being included in certain playlists as well, because people can search for your music based on those genres and entries that you've put into the back-end metadata. So that really is an important step before you click go. Okay, so now that you've completed all of the upload and distribution side of things, you want to start creating a buzz online so that you can tell people about the pending release. Now you can do that via your social media channels, you can do it via email lists depending on if your band has already got a website set up, you can send it out to your subscribers. There's a wide variety of ways that you can certainly build a bit of a buzz as well. Booking shows, live gigs, that's another fantastic way. Booking a launch gig to coincide with your release on Spotify, that's another fantastic way to also build a bit of a buzz around your music. Most of the streaming platforms include an option to have an artist profile page. I highly recommend that you complete that section. Make sure you've got some nice photos to upload as well. No one wants to click on an artist page where there's no information about the artist at all. People love to read a little bit of a backstory on perhaps how you arrived at that release and what are some of your influences and what your journey has been that's led you up to that music release. So I certainly recommend you take your time and build a really solid profile that you can also use to promote on all of your social media channels as well. Well, I hope that was a helpful introduction to how to release your music online. If you're looking for some more detailed information on any aspect of music production or recording, visit my website mnproductions.com.au and look forward to speaking with you soon.